If you're a YouTube creator, you already know that getting someone to click on your video is only half the battle, right? Well, the real challenge, and honestly, the real secret to growth, is getting them to stick around. So today, we're going to open up the playbook on YouTube retention and break down exactly how you can keep your audience watching all the way to the end.
You know, at its heart, every single time someone watches your video all the way through, it's basically an agreement. It's like this silent handshake where the viewer is saying, hey, I trust you to make this worth my time, and in return, you've earned their attention. This simple exchange, it's the engine that powers the entire YouTube ecosystem.
So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll dive deep into that viewer-creator handshake. Then we'll talk about why watch time is absolute king. After that, we're going to decode the signals the algorithm is actually looking for, give you a practical playbook you can use right away, and finally, show you how to read the story that's hidden inside your own data.
Okay, let's kick things off with the absolute foundation of the platform, that viewer-creator handshake. And I'm telling you, if you don't get this core idea, nothing else we talk about today is really going to click.
See, it's all part of this incredible cycle. When a viewer watches your video to the end, they're basically casting a vote for it. And that vote tells YouTube, hey, this is good stuff, which makes the algorithm show it to more people. In return, the algorithm gets smarter about what that viewer likes, so it gives them better recommendations. It is the ultimate win-win.
And this whole idea of viewer satisfaction leads us perfectly to the single most important metric on all of YouTube, which brings us to our next section, why watch time is king.
To really get why watch time matters so much, we gotta hop in a time machine and go back to 2012. This was a huge year for YouTube. It's when they made this massive shift. The algorithm stopped caring so much about just raw clicks and views, and instead it started prioritizing watch time. That one change completely redefined what success looked like on the platform. It was no longer about getting the click, it was about holding attention.
So what is watch time exactly? Well, it's just the total amount of time, in minutes and hours, that people spend watching your videos. Think of it this way. More than anything else, it's a direct signal of how satisfied people are. High watch time sends a super clear message to YouTube that says people are really engaged with this and they find it valuable. And this is where the magic really kicks in. Strong watch time isn't just some vanity metric. It sets off a full-blown chain reaction in the algorithm. YouTube sees that powerful satisfaction signal and boom, it starts pushing your video higher in search results. It starts suggesting it more often in those recommended feeds. Your video's success just starts to snowball.
And what's cool is that the benefits of high retention flow both ways. For you, the creator, it's your lifeline, right? It's proof for sponsors, it lets you use end screens to create binge-watching sessions, and it builds a super loyal audience. But for the viewer, it means a way better experience. They get a homepage full of stuff they actually want to see, they avoid clickbait, and they get the satisfaction of seeing the full story.
Okay, so we know watch time is the goal. But how does the algorithm actually measure if someone's satisfied? Well, that brings us right to our next section. Let's decode the specific signals it's paying attention to.
Now, this is maybe the most important thing to get your head around. The algorithm doesn't watch your video. It has no idea if your jokes are funny or if your editing is slick. It only understands one thing: human behavior. Every single decision it makes is based on what people do after they click play.
And it tracks that behavior using a combo of three main signals that all work together. You've got your click-through rate, or CTR, your average view duration, or AVD, and something called end-of-session behavior. Let's look at how these three paint a complete picture of satisfaction.
All right, first up, click-through rate. This is your first impression. It's simple. When YouTube shows your thumbnail and title to somebody, what percentage of those people actually click on it? CTR answers one basic question. Does your packaging grab enough attention to earn that click?
Next up is average view duration. This is the moment of truth. So they clicked, great, but do they actually stay and watch? AVD is the main way YouTube knows if your content delivered on the promise of your title and thumbnail. You know, a super high CTR with a really low AVD, that's the classic sign of clickbait, and the algorithm is smart enough to see it a mile away.
And finally, we have end-of-session behavior, which is a signal a ton of creators miss. Look, YouTube's #1 goal is to keep people on YouTube. So what happens when your video is over? Does the viewer click another video, or do they close the app and go do something else? If your video leads someone to watch another video, you're sending one of the most powerful, positive signals you possibly can. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get into the good stuff. The practical, actionable steps you can take. Welcome to Section 4, Your Retention Playbook.
This is a simple but incredibly powerful 4-step recipe. First, the hook. You have got to tell people the value they're going to get within the first 15 seconds. Second, create an open loop. Tease something that's coming later in the video to keep them curious. Third, manage your pacing. Use pattern interrupts, like a new graphic or a sound effect, to reset their attention. And fourth, and this one's critical, cut the fluff.
Let's just zero in on that last one for a second. Your retention graph in YouTube Studio is your most honest critic. Seriously, it's a roadmap that shows you second by second where you held attention and where you lost it. You see those steep dips? That is the exact moment your audience got bored or confused or just decided to click away.
So I want you to ask yourself this question. Where are my viewers dropping off? Seriously, go into your analytics, find those dips. Was it a long intro, a confusing point, a story that went nowhere? Pinpoint those weak spots and be absolutely ruthless about cutting them out of your next video. This is how you get better.
And that leads us perfectly into our final section, the story in your data. Because these charts and graphs aren't just statistics, they're a direct line of communication from your audience telling you exactly what they want.
The best creators learn to see their analytics differently. They don't see a bunch of cold, intimidating numbers. They see the story of their audience's attention. Every spike, every dip, it's a clue. It's telling you what they love, what they're bored by, and what they want to see more of. Learning to read that story, that is the true key to growing on this platform.
So I'm going to leave you with this one last thought. The YouTube algorithm is always watching your viewers to figure out if your content is any good. Their clicks, how long they stay, what they do next, it all adds up to tell a story. So the real question is, what story are you telling it?